Okay, so Glenn, I just wanted to show you how to do the wing effect since you asked. I cut out of that URL a 6-second clip of the wing being deployed and going down slightly, and then I reversed that clip to give it a extra flight movement and then sharply close so that I could get the entire effect of what I wanted in 12 seconds. Uh, then basically I don't want to have it render all the animations and everything, so I just took a dark background and then brought in the entire Ozzy body and head into a comp. So we're going to take the wings green screen and we're going to bring that down into our composition. All right. So the first thing I want to do is turn off the sound, and then I also want to change the not the opacity but the scale to 260, so it's big enough for Ozzy. I want to green screen. I want to change the green screen by keying it out with key light 1.2. Grab the green, and there's our wings. Now I want to deploy them because you notice the center of the wings actually changes throughout the green screen. Really poorly designed green screen. So I'm going to find a place somewhere in the center about where it is, and then we are going to take the green screens and transform the position of where this is. So let's bring these guys up and transform them so they're right about where we want on Ozzy's body. Then I'm going to go ahead and move them behind all of the Ozzy layers, but in front of the background. Okay, so it's not perfect. You'll notice it starts way too low and sort of moves around on his back, but it's good enough because we're going to have all these other effects going on. You're not really going to see it. If I wanted to, I could do some tracking and get it in the exact right position. The other thing is if you want to get some of the fuzziness out, in addition to adjusting the green screen Luma, you can also, or Chroma, you can actually go through and auto trace the wings and then cut and paste the mask from the auto trace to give you a crisp edge. But we're going to blur the heck out of this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So the next thing I want to do is grab the radial fast blur. So you go to your effects, and I'll type it in again, radial fast blur. There's the CC radial fast blur, and we're just going to put it on our wings layer. Immediately we get a blur effect that tracks in motion. It's kind of cool. And we can put the center point in to determine where the blur effect is going to go. Oftentimes that center point will stay on the front layer. So I'm going to move this up here just to see if we can get that to show up there. And if not, I'm going to move on with my life. Okay, it's not, but sometimes the center point will actually show on the layer and you can just move it around exactly where you want it. But for us, we want the center point basically to be in the top of the wings and mostly showing down. So we're going to continue to increase the amount of the blur so that you get the effect that you want. I really like it right about there where everything's shooting out. And the nice thing about having the wings is the textures and the dark spots and all those things, they'll blur and blend in with it. So this is a really cool effect if you want to do like headlights or something like that where it's moving in motion and shining a shadow or lights behind something. Okay, so that's the primary gist of what you wanted and asked for. The next thing I'm going to do to finish the effect is to create a new solid layer. I want the solid layer to basically be the same color as all the light that is going on in the background. So if I knew that color offhand, I'd just plug it in there. So now we have the solid layer. I'm going to move it below the wing layer. And then I'm going to change the track matte to Luma matte. So this will effectively create, you notice how it turns the wing layer off. And now everywhere where there's white on the wing will show through with this color. So it's a perfect way to change the color on it quickly and easily to the exact right color. Again, I'm going to take these two layers and move them behind the body. This will take only a second to render anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to pause it real quick. Okay, so there it is rendered with the full effect. You'll notice that it's still sort of floating around in the background. That has to do with just the quality of the green screen image. Now what I would normally do at this point is key out the I apologize if I keep cutting out. My video player also pauses when I press spacebar in addition to After Effects. So if I don't have the right thing highlighted, it ends opens up. So obviously you have to adjust your wings to go down into the right place. The other thing is I would probably key out the wings at this point, and make them basically, let's see, T for opacity, 100% here, and then maybe 0% here. And then the same thing on the other side. When they finally end up being deployed, I want them off. So 0% here, and then bring them back to a partial deploy. Right there is about 100% there. So, all right. And then I'm just going to bring in the actual picture background. So we have some effects. You can see how it gets blurred out in the background. So we'll just bring in the original picture and put it in the background instead of the dark. Okay, so now it's still behind Ozzy. Let me go ahead and render this real quick. Okay, I've gone ahead and rendered it. Let's move it to full size and play it. Now you see the fact that it's floating a little bit here, if everything else is moving, doesn't really make too much of a difference. But again, you could track it if you wanted to. That's the wing effect. Enjoy.